just having been around this program the last month, I know your roster may look a little different, come next season, but what do you think you have here as kind of a base and a foundation going into 2023, just from what you've seen position?
Well, I couldn't speak really positionally, but I can speak culturally and environment-wise. I think that's where the core nucleus is really good. And it didn't take me long. I mean, honestly, the first 2 days of just talking with guys, trying to not just convince them, but make sure they were understood that a lot of the things that have been done here are going to stay the same, and the locker room is really strong, and that's the key. So I just felt like that the core nucleus of what they've done, they believe in the place, they believe in the university, they believe in the culture of their locker room, as opposed to saying, okay, every position, trying to evaluate that. It's even hard in this time to do that, because if you're out there and you're around trying to build relationships, your chance to evaluate, how they play is kind of still secondary to me. And so I know that there's, we got a depth-wise, but I think that's probably about any place in the country. Just the upper-level places, depth is going to be a difficult thing, because, there are freedoms and opportunities for guys to leave, and a lot of times it's the guys that are just below, and those are the guys that take off. So I think it's really big for the winter. I think it's really big for the spring for us to get those better evaluations, as opposed to the first 3 weeks of me trying to make some opinions on what guys look like for the future.
Has it been hard to walk this line of, okay, I want to be a part of this program now, get to see what I have for 2023, but at the same time not pushing anybody out the door that may not be here next year, and kind of let the current coaching staff still run the show?
It is, and very cognizant of those guys, their families, and what they've done over a long period of time, and try to have the utmost respect for that. And so it has been. It's been even hard, just because just things you want to do and ways you want to do them. But I kind of knew it. I didn't kind of know it. I did know it, and went through it in 2010 and 11. So I'd had a little bit more of a history of recognizing and reflecting back on maybe the things that we did and what it was like, and not just like for me, but like for a lot of the people around you, the coaches, the families, and most importantly, the kids.
You haven't had a chance yet to see Braylon in a game, but in person, yes. But what do you think his skill set is that allows him to stand out? And I guess what do you think is possible with him next season, given the offense that you'll have and the talent that he possesses?
I think that there's obviously some great things, and I think he's still a young, raw guy, but which is what you love. For me, from the outside looking in, here's a guy that's only played tailback for a few years. Here's a guy that's 19 years old. I know that he's got a body of a 22, 23, 24-year-old, just big and physical. But how much more can he do, and can we do with him? And I think that that's where, it's really exciting. Every these kids got to have, an idea and a plan going forward. And if he's one of those guys that only needs 3 years of college, he needs to accelerate a lot of the things that he does, so he's ready for that. I think that what we will continue to do, I think will fit him better, And to me, to be able to have a 1-2 punch, to have two guys, is invaluable in this game today, because you got to be best at the end of the year. And the only way you're going to be best at the end of the year is by able to have that 22 guys, so to speak, on both sides of the ball that you can play, specifically at the tailback position. If you don't, then it's by the end of the year, it's really difficult. A guy that's going to carry the ball 15 to 25 times a game, I think that's difficult. And I've talked to him about that, and my vision, this is just a plan, but you're talking 18, 19, 20 times a game, but still having the opportunity to hopefully get this many yards, because they're still, those guys up front are still wearing people out and wearing people down, and by the end of the year, you're at the peak of what you want to do.
I asked you before about the relationship aspect, which I know has been really, really important. How much of that goes beyond football and trying to learn who these guys are, especially in this month in particular, when they don't know you and you don't know them?
A lot. That's the hardest part for me. When I went to Cincinnati, the hardest thing was the first 2 years. Just the sheer fact that I didn't really know the guys. I'd never been in their home. I didn't know their families. And I just feel like it's hard. It's hard sometimes when you don't know where a guy's from and how he's grown up. And the dynamics of some of those things because you've never had a chance to sit in their homes. And there's other ways of doing it, but you got to really kind of peel back some of those layers and try to find some things out. And hopefully, we'll get a group of them. They're going to, we haven't done anything outside the facility, but hopefully, I think January 6th we're going to the wrestling match. I know Braylon says he's going with me, so I'm going to hold him to that. We got a little wrestling history there, and but I think things like that are going to be big for me in building those relationships.
More on the offense. I know you'll know a lot more in spring when you get to really coach these guys, but do you anticipate it's going to be a bunch of sweeping changes that maybe you need to recruit a different type of player, whether that's offensive line, wide receiver, quarterback?
I don't think you recruit a different type of player. What the beautiful thing about what I loved and one of those checklist things of going to Wisconsin is they have a blueprint. And everybody thinks, well, the blueprint is, what they do offensively and no, the blueprint is the type of people they do it with, So whether, the offense changes a little bit and you got to change your numbers to, maybe have a few more wide receivers, to have a few more tight ends in your package. I mean, those are the things that we'll kind of hone in on. And I think that that's what you got to be able to do through recruiting and maybe even if you got to take some other guys, transfers in your program, just to balance your numbers out to maybe some of the ways that you'll play. But I don't think that you are got to change what has given you an opportunity to be successful and what has made Wisconsin great.
For those on the outside, this could be just another bowl game. I'm curious what your messaging has been in terms of kind of why this game is important for the program and for the team.
Just win. I mean, it's ultimately, when you come down to it, you play the game to win, and we can't lose sight of that. It's not about me. It's not about, well, this is a new guy coming in. He's gonna do. No. What gives us the best opportunity, chance to win? Because that's what these guys deserve. They deserve the best opportunity, best chance to win a football game. And if that means me staying out of the way, that means me staying out of the way. And so, to me, that's kind of the message that I've just reiterated to them is, they take great pride in that, and don't lose sight of those things. They're not out here trying to impress me, or they're not out here trying to impress somebody new, or they're not. No, you're out here to do the things you've done with your teammates and do them together and win a game.
Do you feel like the best way to kind of jumpstart a quote-unquote turnaround is to start off with a win tomorrow?
I think always that's the thing about bowl games. I think when you go into the off season, you got to find ways to create energy and momentum. And we've got some unique ways because you're new, so there's going to be some challenges. There's going to be some discomfort that helps, I think, when you're doing things. But there's no doubt that how you finish the season and how you move into that off season, the momentum that's created, from the season, but a lot of times from the bowl experience and the bowl game, really kind of, you can see kind of programs going in the direction that they're going to go in.
With Miles and Chase, how are they just kind of handling, their new role?
Who's that?
Miles and Chase at the quarterback position. How are they just kind of handling, kind of being thrown into the fire here and trying to lead this offense on sort of short notice?
I couldn't tell you if it's changed who they are because I hadn't seen that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard. I mean, I've seen maturity and I've seen them handle things, whether they're both getting reps in practice. I haven't, and that's all I do is watch. I haven't noticed any bad body language, any bad demeanor, any of those things that would be those kind of, that would jump out at you to say, is this going to be a good situation? They've handled it in great ways. And, so I don't know what they were before, how it all looked during the season based, with what they had there before. But I've been impressed with how they've at least handled them two guys kind of rolling in there back and forth.
Did you know Chase at all, Cincinnati guy?
Doing very well.
Okay.
Doing very well. It was family, and so we recruited him really hard at Cincinnati. Obviously, he was down the street. My boys went to a rivaling high school. His actual sister played volleyball at Cincinnati, and his other sister plays against my daughter all the time. So I've known the family and him for quite a while.
I want to ask you a quick clarification. Do you, with Marcus now, is he back with the team yet?
Not right now.
Okay.